Okay, let's talk about one of the most nerve-wracking moments when you're buying, selling, or even refinancing your home, the appraiser's visit, right? I mean, this one person shows up, and the number they come up with can have this huge impact on your finances. So the big question is, when they're standing right there in your doorway, what are you supposed to say? Yeah, just picture it. The appraiser's at your door, maybe they've got a clipboard, and you know the financial stakes are just sky high. And it feels super personal, right? This is your home. But you've got to remember, it's a professional process. And knowing how to handle this one conversation, it's absolutely crucial. So today, we're going to take all that anxiety and turn it into a solid, confident plan. First, we'll get into why this whole thing feels so high stakes. Then, we're going to try to get inside the appraiser's head, understand their golden rule. After that, we'll cover the big no-nos, phrases that raise red flags, and then shift to what they actually find helpful. And finally, we'll pull it all together into your perfect appraisal game plan. All right, first up, the high-stakes appraisal. Let's really understand this pressure point. And look, it's totally normal to be nervous about this. Let me show you exactly why it matters so much. Okay, so this is not just some box-ticking exercise. I mean, think about it. If you're a seller, a low appraisal can blow up your whole deal. If you're a buyer, poof, there goes your mortgage approval. And if you're refinancing, that number decides exactly how much cash you can pull out of your home. Seriously, every single dollar on that report has a very real, very direct impact on your wallet. So with all that on the line, how does an appraiser even think about their job? Well, this brings us to what I think is the single most important thing you need to get, the appraiser's golden rule. And it's simple. For them, independence is absolutely everything. Look, an appraiser's job isn't to make you happy. It's not to help you hit a certain number for your loan or your sale. Their entire professional and ethical duty is to give an unbiased opinion of value. They have to follow really strict standards and base everything on hard market evidence. Think of them less like someone you have to convince and more like a detective or a fact finder. And honestly, once that clicks, it changes how you see the whole conversation. Okay, so keeping that idea of independence in mind, let's dive into the common mistakes people make. These are the phrases that immediately throw up red flags for an appraiser. And, a lot of homeowners say these things with the best intentions, but man, can they backfire. All right, here is the number one biggest mistake you can make. Saying something like, we just need it to hit the contract price. Oof. When you say you need a certain number, that's just a direct pressure play. It tells them you're focused on the result you want, not the facts on the ground. It immediately puts them on guard and makes them skeptical of pretty much everything else you're about to say. Next up, but Zillow says my home is worth X. Listen. We all do it. We all check the Zestimate, right? But bringing this up to a professional appraiser, it's a total non-starter. Their job requires them to use verifiable market data. We're talking actual, recent, comparable sales. Those automated online tools, as fun as they are, just don't count as professional evidence they can use in their report. Period. Okay, this next one is tricky because your intention is probably good. You say, hey, use these comps, they're the best. You're thinking, I'm saving them time, I'm being helpful. But what the appraiser sees is something totally different. To them, it looks like you've cherry-picked only the highest sales in the neighborhood to try and steer their conclusion, and just like that, your credibility takes a nosedive. Now this is a big deal. Saying something like, hey, please don't photograph that water stain, or don't mention the crack in the foundation. Whoa. Asking an appraiser to ignore or leave out a significant problem is a massive professional red flag. Their entire job is to document the home's true condition, warts and all. Asking them to do otherwise is basically asking them to be unethical, and it just completely destroys any trust. And yeah, the list goes on with other things that just create suspicion. Saying, if this comes in low, we'll just order another appraisal. That sounds like a threat. Or, my neighbor sold for way more. Well, without any context, that's just gossip, not data. And saying, I did a lot of this work myself can actually backfire if it wasn't permitted. The main takeaway here, just avoid anything that sounds like a threat, pressure, or a claim you can't back up with proof. All right, enough with the don'ts. Let's flip this around and talk about what you should do. How can you actually be helpful and make sure the appraiser has all the right information? Because this is where you can genuinely make a positive difference. Okay, this right here, this is your secret weapon. A simple one-page fact sheet. Seriously, don't just tell them you put in a new kitchen, give them a list of all your recent improvements, complete with dates and costs. Don't just say the new bathroom was done to code, show them the building permit. You see the difference? This isn't pressure. This is pure, helpful, verifiable information that makes their job easier and ensures they don't miss a thing. And you can back up that fact sheet with a few other key documents. Got a floor plan or a survey? Awesome. That helps them verify the square footage. Have the receipts for that brand new HVAC system? Perfect. That's concrete proof of what you spent. And hey, if you do want to provide some comparable sales, that's fine. Just make sure it's a balanced list, not just the million-dollar mansions down the street. It all shows that you're being transparent and helpful, not trying to pull a fast one. So when the day comes and they're actually at your house, the whole interaction can be super simple and totally stress-free. It's really just 4 easy steps. First, greet them professionally. Second, hand them your little packet of info. Just say something like, hey, I put together some information about the house that might be helpful. I'll be around if you have any questions. Third, be available. And fourth, just give them space to do their job. That's it. It shows you're prepared, professional, and that you respect their process. All right, let's bring it all home. Time for your final appraisal game plan. This really boils everything we've discussed down to one key idea. It all comes down to this simple but powerful difference. Are you applying pressure or are you providing information? You know, everything in that pressure column. We need this value, use these high comps, ignore that problem. That's all about trying to force a certain outcome. But everything on the information side, here's a fact sheet with costs. Here are all the recent sales. Here are the permits. That's about giving them the facts they need to do their job right. One approach creates doubt, the other builds trust. It's that simple. So if you remember one thing, let it be this. Your goal is not to influence the appraiser, it's to inform them. When you give them organized, factual data, you're not telling them what your house is worth. You're simply giving them all the tools they need to see the complete, accurate picture for themselves. And honestly, that is the best and most powerful thing you can do. So, as we wrap up, I want you to think about it like this. This isn't a confrontation or negotiation. It's storytelling. You've put time, money, and effort into your home. You've created its story. So the final question for you is, what story do your home's facts tell? Get that story down on paper, back it up with proof, and you will be more than ready when that appraiser rings your doorbell.